So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zeph War Games, and we're here today with Rob's first place undefeated Ancient Warrior deck. So this is obviously post Rise of the Duelist with the brand new double Dragon Lords, which is insane. He ended up taking on Dogmaticas. He also took on Numeron Subterra alongside Salamangrates. And I believe he also took on Orcust as well. And he went undefeated with it. This deck has been built primarily to go second. I've also got his side deck as well. And it's built on a very, very nice budget. Apart from Extravagance, which you can kind of go, alright, cool, let's splash the cash. This deck did insanely well. So I'll take you through what he's got, show you exactly what he's used, and I'll try not to butcher as many names as we go. So we start off with triple Ancient Warrior Loyal Guanjon. This is basically the Prankatots of the deck, but it's not quick effect. So if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you special summon this card, and then you can pop one card your opponent controls. So it's obviously quite a nice way of going, cool, special summon, clear board, special summon, clear board, and it just really, really helps extend and gives you a massive beat stick that's just going to be able to deal with your opponent's monsters with pretty much the greatest of ease. We'll then go with the main, or one of the main three, and that is of course your victorious Yugioh. So this is the wind centerpiece, and then you've got your Masterful Sun Moon, which is the water centerpiece. And now Yugioh, basically, if you try another Ancient Warrior monster, your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks, which is nice. And then if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can send one card from your hand to the field, hand or field to the graveyard to special summon one Ancient Warrior monster from your deck except himself. Now Sun Moon is insane, because Sun Moon, again, you can send one card from your hand or field to the graveyard, add an Ancient Warrior monster from your deck to your hand, except himself, and then if another Ancient Warrior monster's effect is activated, except during the damage step, you target one monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So you can see how it synergizes with your Dragon Lords, because obviously Dragon Lord uses his effect to bounce one, and then on a new chain, Sun Moon will bounce another, so it's technically like a double compulse, which is really, really nice, especially in a game where, like, stuff doesn't want to be destroyed, stuff has protection that way. As long as it can be targeted, you're able to bounce it and get rid of it. We've then got triple Zhen Kong. Now this is actually more important now because we've got the Link monster. So the idea is, when you search this guy through a Ancient Warrior, you get to special summon him. Then if he's got, if he's on board with the Yugioh, he becomes a monster negator. But if he's on his own, he becomes a spell and trap negator, as long as you've got a face-up Ancient Warrior spell and trap to play with as well. He's then playing double Yugioh. So this one is, you can target one continuous spell or trap you control, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, add one Ancient Warrior spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So this allows you to get and basically turbo into the new one, which is your Ancient Warrior East by South Winds. So really, really good card, brand new one, came out in Return of the Duelist as well. Rise of the Duelist. And it pretty much just gets everything going and moving for you. So very, very powerful card, very, very important, and can kind of get everything. It basically, when we get to it, I'll explain a little bit more in depth, but it allows you to clear boards, and it means your opponent can't respond to your Ancient Warrior effects as well, which is great. Double Zhang Yon. So this card, again, is your beast monster in the deck. So all other Ancient Warrior monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, which is nice because it protects all the little ones. And you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. So at the start of the damage step, while your Ancient Warrior monster battles an opponent's monster, you can special summon this card from the hand. And if you do, the opponent's monster loses 1,000 attack, so clearing stuff off board already. If a card or cards your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So again, it's an additional way of disruption, because the chances are, when they attack during a damage step, whatever it comes down is going to pop it. So you're basically getting 2 pops, which is nice. And then he's got the one Zhang Di. Now I think he's actually thinking about bumping this up, but if you control 2 Ancient Warrior monsters, you can special summon this card from the hand, and then if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can activate this effect. It can make 2 attacks on monsters during the battle phase, so it's very, very nice in that way, because again, it helps you get more battle damage out, and it also helps you try and clear more monsters off the board. Because this is a Ghost second deck, he did main triple Gameciel, which is what really, really hurt quite a lot of decks today, because it was like, okay, cool, Zexal, shut down, fine, Gameciel, off you go. And then it was like, oh, Macabre, cool, Gameciel, off you go. Sunlight Wolf with a rage set, Gameciel, off you go. So very, very important kaijus right now, especially if you've got a Go Second focus deck. Triple Tenkai is what he calls it, but obviously Triple Tenki searches out all your cards, gets you going, gets you moving, and then Tensu for an additional to keep everything going from there. You don't have any draw cards in the deck, you all do a lot of searching, so Extravagance is actually very, very usable. The only card in the extra deck you don't want to lose all of your copies are your double Dragon Lords, but you know, once you've got one on board, you're able to carry on going. Triple Dark Ruler no more, shut down the entire board. You're going second, there's so many boards right now that like break my board, and if you can Dark Ruler it, and then you've got all your cards that are then going to pop off, they're then going to bounce, they're then going to deal damage. Very, very powerful, very, very good. Triple Free Visits, the best continuous spell in my opinion. So during your main phase, if you normal or special summon an Ancient Warrior monster or monsters, you target one of those monsters and add an Ancient Warrior monster with a different name from your deck to your hand. So again, that's how you get into Yugioh, I believe it is, the one that just special summons himself. And then if this card is sent from the spell and trap card zone, you get to special summon an Ancient Warrior monster from your hand. Only use each effect once per turn, but it's an extender. That's what it's all there for. And then we've got triple of the brand new one, East by South Winds. This card is insane. So you must send it to the graveyard during the standby phase after this activation, second standby phase, but the chances are you're not going to get that. So during your main phase, toss a coin, and if the result is head, and this card, send this card to the graveyard. If this card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. This turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of all Ancient Warrior monster effect monsters you currently control. And then all your Ancient Warrior monsters effect monsters gain this effect. When this card declares an attack, you destroy one card your opponent controls. Now that's obviously not going to be once per turn, so the way it's kind of worked out is you declare an attack with your Ancient Warrior. The Ancient Warrior then pops the monster and then gets to redirect. So the idea is with one Ancient Warrior monster, you're going to go attack, effect, pop, attack, to clear that monster off. And then the next one is going to attack, so it's going to attack, trigger this, pop, attack, and it's just going to keep going, keep going, keep going. So the more Ancient Warriors you have, the more you're going to clear off.
You can gain this effect more than once per turn, by the way. So if you have all three of them, every time you attack, you pop 3 cards.
Well, there you go then. Apparently, if you get rid of all 3 of them...
all the monsters gain that effect to pop a card whenever they attack.
So, I mean, that is pretty disgusting. So, attack, pop 3. Okay, cool, thanks. You're pretty much, if you resolve this card, you're going to win the game, because this is going to the graveyard, and as long as you've got an Ancient Warrior, you're clearing 2 cards off on board, and then you've got to remember that if you're comboing off with Sun Moon, you're comboing off with Yugioh, you're just going to be able to go, okay, cool, draw a card, pop a card, bounce a card, dragons, bounce a card, off you go, and then if you've got the big boss monster, the fire one, in your hand, you're going to be able to extend even further. So if you've got Zhang Yong, you're just going to basically go, okay, cool, summon, pop another card. Attack, can't be destroyed by battle. Boost everything because of your double dragons. It just keeps going on and on and on, and it's insanely powerful. Ancient Warrior Saga Borrowing of Arrows. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls and one Ancient Warrior monster you control. Until the end of the turn, halve that opponent's monsters and halve your opponent's monster, and then gain the attack lost to one of your other Ancient Warrior monsters. I completely said that terribly wrong. So basically, half your opponent, one of your opponent's monsters, and give that attack to one of your monsters. You can place one Ancient Warrior continuous spell or track card from your hand or deck face up on your field when this card is sent from the field. So the idea is you're going to be sending a lot of this. So this one just basically gets you into your east by south, and it's a bit more consistent that way. And then the final track is evenly matched because, you know, comboing off a Dark Ruler no more into an evening match, again, is going to get you more games, going to get you clear game, and then the idea is you're going to control the board with your double dragons and your Sun Moon, which is insane. Speaking of which, going into the extra deck, we've got 3 of the brand new one. I would probably still play 3 even if you weren't playing Extravagance. This card is insane. Focus is playing up. Hello. There we go. So, triple double dragon lords. So, 2 beast warrior monsters including a wind ancient warrior. That's the one big restrictions. But all ancient warrior monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is linked summoned, you add one Ancient Warrior card from your deck to your hand. So extender, back row, anything you need. Quick effect, you send one card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target one face-up card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. So you can see the synergy between this and Sun Moon because you're going to go double bounce. Also, you've got other effects that can then trigger in addition to that. The only downside to this is it is only 1500, so it is one of your weak spots, but then that's when you kind of protect it with your Zhu Yang and everything else as well. Continuing through the extra deck, everything else is pretty much free ofs for extras, and then anything that isn't free ofs is pretty much kind of just there as utility cards. So you got your Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tenki, in Prismatic Rare, yeah, the cool rarity. So basically this just allows you to get to your Tenkis, get to your Tensis, but also can shut off your opponent's board as well if you need to. I don't feel I saw Rob resolve this at all today, but it does have that utility should you need it later on. Everything else apart from Nightmare Unicorn is one-offs. So everything else comes down to your personal preference from here, in my opinion. So you've got the Nightmare package of Cerberus, Phoenix, and then technically an honorary Nightmare monster is of course IP Masquerena. If you've got the money to play free IPs, then by all means do so. You've also got your Link 4s of your Unchained Abomination and your Borosaur Dragon, and then you've got the one Ningirisu and you've got the one Barricade Ball Blocker. So Barricade is really nice because you get to bring back the Continuous, which is kind of cool. But also on top of that, what you need to keep in mind as well is that any of these, if you've got the money to bump up, you can do. So these can be any Link 4s, any Link 3s, any Link 2s, triple IPs, whatever you want. The deck itself is, like I said, insanely powerful. I was not expecting it to do as well as it did today, but it was able to storm some of the best meta decks around. Moving on to his side deck, of course, we've got Triple Cosmic Cyclone, Eldritch, not Mathmex, Eldritch, Dogmaticas, and Numerons as well, alongside, which is why you've got triple Ghost Ogre to deal with that. If he has Infinite Impermanence, I'm assuming he'll be playing Infinite Impermanence over Effect Veilers. And then, of course, you've got your Ash Blossoms and your Nibiru. So pretty much board breakers on a bit of a budget. This is probably the most budget side that you can get right now, which does really, really well. The only thing you could probably put into here is Phantasmes, which aren't massively necessity. You've got your Droplets and you've got your Tactical Talents alongside Lightning Storms. So if you have any of those, especially Lightning Storm and Tactical Talents, and mainly Droplet as well, because it becomes another Dark Ruler No More, then definitely put them in the deck because that's only going to help you get more consistent. The biggest weakness for the deck is it doesn't have a insanely powerful first turn board. Like its main power first turn board will be having to be able to get 2 monsters on board, including the Wind, which is sure that you just add one of them and it special summons itself. Go into the Dragon Lords, and then you still need to get like your Sun Moon back, so you've got a double bounce. And then you want to make sure you've got the Fire in hand to do battle protection, really, really catching your opponent off, and then kind of control them with the spells as well. So a lot of things need to mold into place, but once it does, this deck is insanely powerful and really does work. And like I said, apart from IP, which you can get, and the Extravagance, you can actually build this on a budget. If you're going to take out the Extravagance, I would put in stuff like maybe Pot of Desires, just because it's the best alternative draw card in my opinion. And this deck shouldn't need to go into the grind game. If it does go into the grind game, then it might not be in your favour. But because most of your cards are cool, clear off board, consistent way, search out what you need, that'll be the best route to go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share as absolutely always. Well done to Rob winning one of our, I think it's like our 3rd locals back after lockdown, and definitely the first one of Rise of the Duelist. Definitely caught a lot of people out of guard, and like I said, the Ghost second capability of this deck was a massive surprise, something massively different and incredibly powerful. So Ancient Warriors are definitely ones to keep your eyes out on going forward, and definitely worth picking up because I don't think any of the cards themselves of the core are breaking the bank, and it's a fun deck to play around with that does have power potential. Anyway, for now, as always guys, happy dueling. So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZW Games 5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.